Hooty hoo, this is George with a very special announcement. First of all, my debut stand-up comedy special is coming out officially on December 2nd. It will be available to rent or purchase on Amazon and Apple and various other websites, but that is not what I'm here to announce because it is not available yet. I am merely saying that because I wanted to tell everyone that I am having a big special release show at the Bell House in Brooklyn, New York on December 3rd. That is the day after the special comes out. So come to the Bell House, come celebrate. It'll be a big show. It'll be like a George and Friends style show with some extra special guests and surprises. And if you buy tickets now, then you won't have to buy them later when I announce the lineup publicly. So you heard it here first. Bell House, December 3rd, special release, George and Friends show. And then the second thing is that Sam and I are doing a sort of last minute kind of industry adjacent show, a special edition StraightioLab Live at On Air Fest in Los Angeles on November 11th. It is a podcast festival, and there are a few tickets set aside for sort of the GA general admission crowd. If you don't professionally work in podcasting, you can still see us do our thing. So in conclusion, come to my special release show at the Bell House in Brooklyn on December 3rd. And if you're in LA, come see us at On Air Fest on November 11th. The tickets for that are on the Bell House website, on my link tree, on the StraightioLab link tree. Honey, if you look for them, you'll find them. Enjoy the show.
Podcast starts now. Hello, all. We are coming at you bi-coastally once again. Our New York records have officially ended. We did 6 weeks of New York recordings. And now, also I have to say those recordings were recorded during such an optimistic time. We were both in such good moods. We were frolicking around various food trucks in the Dumbo, Brooklyn area. It was pretty much still summer in the sense that it was, September. Yeah.
And now I am, first of all, let's get this out of the way. I'm sick. It's okay. You don't have to send me flowers, but it is what it is. I have what is known in the medical community as brain fog. It is absolutely kicking my ass. I'm taking 15 minutes to complete one sentence. So that's one thing. Jot that down. Second thing, it is a gloomy New York day. I would say the light that is reflecting on my face is the color gray.
I have to say, I still follow like a New York weather account, and it like every day like says like 10 out of 10, like sunny and 75. And today it was like 2 out of 10, torrential downpours, miserable energy, avoid at all costs. And I was like, I really want to come back to New York, and I really forget. Like, I'm like scared for that moment when you're like, damn, today is just miserable. There's no way around it.
You know what, though? It is. However, there is something so almost there's this sort of joy in the self-flagellation of just being like, I can't do anything. I'm basically Sylvia Plath, and I'm going to sit here and just sort of sink deeper and deeper into my couch and just be depressed doing emails. I'm going to make tea, but then forget the tea bag in the tea thing, and then have one sip and be like, this is absolutely disgusting, and then throw it out and be like, you know what? I should get into tea finally. I can't keep only drinking tea that's from the grocery store. But it's like, that is such a high bar to entry. So then, of course, you start Googling tea. Next thing you know, you have 17 tabs open, and you're like, I wonder what my ex is up to. And then you go on his Instagram, et cetera, et cetera.
No, I think so at least in New York, when it's cloudy/rainy and you're in a bad mood and you're like, well, of course I'm in a bad mood. It's cloudy/rainy. Today, let's be up front. I'm in a horrible mood for seemingly, I guess the reason is because I slept badly, and it's sunny and about 85 degrees outside. I simply have no excuse. I was mad that it was too sunny. I was mad that it was nice out. And I'm like, now this has to stop. You can't, the way that LA is turning me against sunny, summery weather is shocking. I used to pray for days like this.
Yes, exactly. Because what LA does is infuse sunny, summery weather with a sort of like grim film noir element. It's like, It's like, it's very like David Lynch. It's like, did you know that actually when it's sunny, that's because there's darkness in the world and this is hiding it?
Yeah. It's really, really bleak.
And I'm glad you mentioned being in a bad mood because we are honestly both in pretty terrible moods today. And I'm feeling there's a part of me that wants to address each of our bad moods, or for me to be like, what's wrong? Like, is everything okay? Blah, blah. But I'm kind of like, put your own mask on first. I'm literally like,
Totally.
I can't think of anyone else's bad mood except my own.
Well, and I just want to add to what's going on with me is that, so this will come out after Halloween. So I can say this now and it won't be a spoiler, which why would it be a spoiler? Who do I think I am? But for Halloween, Misha and I have decided, first we were like, we're going to be Cam and Mitch. How funny.
Love.
I bought a red wig. I got red dye for and I'm growing my beard. Misha's got like a contrast cuff loud shirt.
Oh yeah.
And so we're like, okay, that's so fun. And then we put the costumes on roughly. And I was like, wait, I kind of just look like a normal guy in a red wig, of course. And then it's like, okay, wait. We were talking to some people and they were like, what if you're sexy Cam and Mitch? And I was like, now that's funny. And so I was like, okay, so it's the same costume, but like with like sock garters on and like maybe like plain boxers on.
That's really good.
But still like sweater and like V-neck sweater and collared shirt up top for me. But then I've been on various websites all morning. I can't find sock garters for the life of me. They are not, they don't have like, there are none in Los Angeles that I can find, and Amazon, sorry, is not delivering until Saturday.
You know, this is of course one of those things where my instinct is to Google it and think I'm going to find it in 2 seconds, and it's like, no, you're smart. You've tried. You've tried what I'm about to try.
I mean, there is like, I could like look up like men's suiting stores and like call them and be like, do you have these? But it feels like such a niche product at this point. Or like even like I'm like sex stores, like I'm like, has it just gone into full kink wear where like the sock garter for men?
But don't you think so? I mean, I understand the desire for a sock garter, but there are other ways to make a costume sexy. Like I think if you can't find one, you will find other ways to pull off the iconic costume sexy Cam and Mitch.
Of course. It's just a sock garter would really sell it.
Yeah. Are you going to have a lily?
No, because we wanted to have like, you know, we're going to a house party first. So we were like, oh, we should like bring a bottle of something wrapped up in a baby blanket. But then we were worried that people would, like, if we posted a picture of us as Cam and Mitch with a baby, they would think it was a baby announcement.
Right. I don't know if that many people would think that, but I respect it. I was more thinking that you were worried that like libs of TikTok would pick it up and then it would be like, look, these gays think that having a child is kink.
Yeah. No, that's true. I mean, you're right. And I should let go of the sock garter, but I really committed to it in my mind.
Yeah. No, I get it. And it is the perfect way to it's the perfect way for something to be kinky while also gesturing at preppy dad, which is basically what you're trying to do with your Mitch costume.
Yeah.
That's really good though. And I mean, Mitch is a little more challenging, but Cam, if you have one of those contrast cuff shirts, it's like so immediately clear what you're being.
I was honestly like jealous that Misha got to be Cam. And then I was like, what if we're both Cam? And then I was like, no, one of us has to be Mitch.
It would be really funny if you were both
Night of 1,000 Cams.
So basically this is a call-in episode and we are having disagreements about which calls to take.
Huge disagreements
to the point where I was actually like, we have to start recording. Otherwise, we'll get into a fight.
And it's kind of, this never happens to us.
I know. It was I think this has to do with both of us are not feeling great and are sleep deprived. I'm not going to get into it, but when you mentioned sleep problems, I wanted to also talk about how I've been having insane insomnia. Like last night after we had watched TV and went to bed, by myself, I watched 5 episodes of 30 Rock just in bed in the dark, like with my laptop there, which usually would put me to sleep. And I was just eyes wide open staring into my screen. And this has now been happening for like a week of just like being up until 4 a.m., not being able to fall asleep. And I think it's stress related and I don't know. Also, the like travel over the summer didn't help, but I'm so tired.
Yeah.
So we I'm gonna I like the idea of sort of reading through. We get so many calls, and I want everyone to know that there are. We put them all in a spreadsheet. Then we like based on our whims that day, we highlight some that we think are good. Then we end up doing whatever we feel like in the moment. There are questions that keep getting asked over and over again, and we are not sure if we've ever answered them. It also depends on our mood. Sometimes we want to do more advicey questions. Sometimes we want to do pop culture questions. Sometimes we want to do more like conceptual questions. What are the ones that were sticking out to you, I wonder?
I was preferring the ones that were sort of like either like very open-ended pop culture. I think I don't like when it feels like a quiz.
Yeah.
And I also don't like when I feel like I have to like speak from huge authority, because sometimes I find that to be like but I was liking the open-ended pop culture ones, which just like, what are your thoughts on this? And I was also liking sort of the like maybe options, like I have a choice. I can either do this or this. Which should I do? Like that was really speaking to me, because I was like, it feels easiest. Not that not that it's all about ease. I'm just sort of like, that was what was speaking to me. What was speaking to you?
So here's what I think. Maybe this is a crutch I'm falling on, but I think people generally like recommendation culture right now. I have mixed feelings about how every single thing now is like so-and-so's 5 favorite skincare products, so-and-so's 5 favorite movies, things you can't live without. Like that questionnaire that people do on Instagram that's like things Amanda Seyfried loves and things Amanda Seyfried hates. Or like the Perfectly Imperfect newsletter, where it's like all people recommending things, and you have to do 2 things that are specific, and then 1 thing that's like the feeling after a rain when you have a burger, and you have to like be just Carrie Bradshaw enough about it, and be like things you don't like, compulsory child rearing or whatever, and I think that adds enough structure. Like, for example, we got a question that was like, what is the last truly perfect movie you watched? And I was like, oh, that's fun, because it's limiting enough that I can go back through the movies I watched recently and just like pick a few. And then you were like, why would anyone want to listen to me talk about how I thought One Battle After Another is good? Everyone thinks it's good.
Well, I was like, I'm not like reinventing the wheel here. Like, I was kind of like, you could like, to me, and all respects to that caller, but I was like, what I think is the perfect movie that I watched.
It's
like
a perfect movie.
To me, I was like it's. I also think I'm sort of like, maybe I don't believe in. I think for some reason the phrasing of the question of like, what is a perfect movie you watched, is like stressing me out, because it invites like people to be like, you thought that was perfect. Like,
but don't you love just recklessly having an opinion?
And maybe part of it is like, I don't think I've ever thought any movie was perfect. Like,
wow.
Like It's a Wonderful Life, maybe, but I bet you could trim a couple mins. like I'm just sort of like, nothing's perfect.
No, that's tea. I recently randomly watched Invasion of the Body Snatchers for the first time, the one with like Donald Sutherland, and I guess I would say I had low expectations, but I was like, this is someone else. Matthew put it on. I was like, all right, I guess we'll watch it. And then by the end, I was like having such a good time, and it was like so simple and not trying to have like a million twists and turns, and like really well shot in this sort of fun 70s like paranoia way. And then I also recently watched In the Mood for Love for the first time, and so those were going to be mine too. Sorry, not interesting. And then wait, so you were drawn to, for example, what celeb or what pop star right now has the gay men, gay women, and straight women in a chokehold?
Well, and I thought the call behind that was very smart when I read through it a bit. Like,
well, let's maybe how about we do our first call and start there, and then get the wheels turning.
Okay.
Hi, Sam and George. My name is Casey. I'm calling from Massachusetts. My husband and I went to your Somerville show. We loved it. He was really not too familiar with your work until then, but he laughed the whole time, and I'll just say he was particularly charmed by Sam. My question for you is...
Interesting.
There's the Lily Allen breakup album happening right now. It's amazing, incredible. What was your perception of their relationship pre-breakup and now with this album post-breakup? I'm curious what the gay community thought particularly of David Harbour during his height of like people loving this sad dad thing, and now knowing what we know now, have things changed at all? Thanks for your thoughts and your amazing podcast. Bye.
Well, what can you say? Straight guys love me.
It was such an interesting choice to include in a call that, it had it all. It was complimentary. You're building up to a great, relevant question. To want to immediately create a rift between us by saying your straight husband liked Sam more.
I mean, there's a toxic desire among all to pit gay podcasters against each other.
It's so, the phrasing of, and I'll just say.
Don't say.
He was especially charmed by Sam. Why would you just say that?
Why would you say that?
Someone recently commented on one of our clips with Adam Friedland and was like, it's my duty to say. I was like, no, it's not. Shut the hell up.
Shut up.
Go. Okay, what do you... obviously, David Harbour is so comically your type that it is even a cliche to bring him up.
So David Harbour is a huge sex symbol in the bear community. It is not just me, of course, that finds him hot. It is anyone who finds bears hot. He's like on bear fan pages constantly. And it's like very interesting... For the Bears, I don't think this is going to make a splash. I think everyone will still want to have sex with him. For the general public, I'm interested how you feel, George, about will people like turn on him?
I am so confused about where we are as a like mainstream sort of straight leaning culture on men and women right now. Yes. And I'm saying that in complete earnestness. Like, there is, I believe, this very kind of predictable but grim backlash against... It started out as being a backlash against quote-unquote girl boss culture, which I hate to use a word that has never literally meant anything.
Literally.
It is something that from the beginning was a punchline. That the book Girl Boss by Sophia Amoruso came out and immediately was a punchline. This idea that we have in retrospect that at one point we were in the girl boss era and now we're not is stupid. Yeah. And only people who write for digital media believe it. So wake the fuck up and be an adult. So anyway, first it started as a backlash against girl boss culture, which is in its own way completely like veiled misogyny and sexism. Then it became a backlash in an even more dark way against like Me Too, because of course like people were like very confused how to act. And so then, you suddenly had like the random babe.net article about Aziz, which everyone felt weird about. And so then the waters got muddied so much that basically anytime a woman speaks now, she sort of is like not quite trusted. Would you agree?
I would agree. I think we're in a really complicated spot. And this particular drama is interesting too because it's like both new and old.
Yes.
Like it's like sort of a cheating scandal, which is classic vintage. She's not necessarily saying like he abused me. She's saying like he was like a horrible partner and we've had a miserable couple of years, and that makes it old. But then it's new because it's like, well, we were open, so it wasn't like fully illegal, and like it was just like he broke the rules of our open agreement.
Yes,
so
there's something very, very now about it.
Yeah.
And there's also something very, aging millennial about it. Like it is so, Lily Allen is such a classic millennial voice. And I hate to talk about generations.
Yeah.
But you just have to. Like she is someone who could only be the exact age she is.
Yeah, for sure.
So when we were talking about like the status of David Harbour, I'm like, I don't think the quote unquote cancellation of a man has the same weight that it did in like 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
But at the same time, this album is clearly making a big impact.
Yeah.
But in my world, I'm seeing it more as like you go girl Lily Allen than like David Harbour is an asshole.
Yeah, I think it's You Go Girl. It's like...
It's almost beside the point who he is.
Yeah. It's like it adds a level of intrigue that it's someone famous that we all can just like recognize instantly.
Mhm.
But it's not the whole story. It is more like, you did that thing, you got out of there, and your body looks amazing. I do feel like we're not talking about that's part of the album rollout, is like her being like, and also look at how my body looks amazing.
No, yes. She's almost leaning into this sort of imperfect victim narrative in a way that I actually find kind of fun, because Lily Allen is an insane person.
Always has been.
Lily Allen is not like some innocent wifey who like was so optimistic about this relationship and she's always been looking for love and then she got her heart broken. Like, Lily Allen is a psycho.
Yeah, she's a bad girl.
She is a bad girl. She's a psycho. She's done insane things in the past. I would say, like, partially owns it. Like, I think, for example, she's openly being like, well, I was the bad person in my previous marriage, so, like, I was able to relate to him or whatever. But then she hasn't, quote unquote, owned some of the other insane shit she has said, over the years. She's very much a classic, like, celeb who is on social media, whether it's podcasting, whether it's the whole stunt she did where she, like, ran her own Only Feet or whatever.
Oh, sure.
Is that what that website's called?
Wiki?
No.
WikiFeet?
WikiFeet, not Only Feet.
I mean, I am impressed with the whole album in general. I think if we're just talking about broadly, I'm sort of like, I think we both talked about how like it's both like very interesting and you're like the first few listens you're like, wow, this is great. And then you were saying that you like kind of feel gross now.
Well, one more thing about David Harbour is that he has a sort of evil looking face.
Yeah.
And I actually sort of think part of his appeal is this kind of villainous energy. And so I think, if anything, in terms of my attraction to him, for example, this album is not making me less attracted to him or making him less of a desirable object if you are prone to be attracted to him. If anything, I'm like, wow, it's so hot that he had a bag of dildos or whatever she accused him of having.
Yeah, butt plugs and stuff. And lube. And I'm literally like, wait, were you using them on yourself? Wait.
Yeah, I lube hummus. So wait, sorry, but you asked me a question. Oh, yes. I feel like there is something about the entire album being about the same thing. And I know that it has a narrative arc to some extent, but honestly, it's mostly that every song is about the same thing. And you know what it almost feels like? It almost feels like being waterboarded with like pornography. Like, it reminded me of the Gooner article where I was like, yes, like in small doses, it's like really cathartic to listen to Lily Allen like say like, fuck this guy and he did this to me and he did this to me. But to listen to that for like 15 songs straight sort of makes you want to do something else.
Yeah. No, it can feel a little, it's just so confessional that I'm sort of like, you let like a recording studio hear you do this?
Right. And I sort of respect that she's kind of I haven't listened to the final songs that many times to remember, but I don't think she's sort of avoiding like a catharsis at the end or like an empowerment narrative, right? Like, it's really just like, you're an asshole, you're an asshole, you're an asshole, you're an asshole. The end. Yeah. Which I do respect. Like, totally. Something like Lemonade, while being more artful, is also more calculated and can feel too overwritten.
Yeah.
Whereas this one really does feel like she just like put it all out there.
Yeah.
So I respect that.
I respect. Shout out.
To an extent. Yeah. So final thoughts on David Harbour. We would both still have sex with him probably.
Yeah. Send nudes, David Harbour. I will do whatever you want.
And Lily Allen, it's like, if nothing else, I'm like, good for you for still getting lips a-flapping.
I fully agree.
I'm kind of like, I obviously I'm holding you at arm's length, and I would never want to be your close personal friend because I know you would ultimately betray me and then potentially post screenshots of our texts. But that said, you are kind of one of the OGs, and I loved Lily Allen when I was a teen, and as much as I am being a little mean to her, I get defensive if someone else is mean to her.
Of course. You've earned it.
Like, she's kind of a legend.
Yeah.
She is.
She is.
And I didn't know people cared so much about her. I was like, she's one of those people to me that I'm like, isn't it weird that I listened to Lily Allen when I was like 17?
I agree.
Not 17, whatever, 14.
It's one of those things where I'm also surprised that everyone knows her, but I celebrate it.
Hey, Sam and George. Love you girls. Great seeing you.
Love you down.
My question is for stand-up comedians, which you guys are.
Clock it.
When
Thank
you're
you.
at like a really intimate venue or any venue, I guess, and you're performing in front of someone that is just like so hot and sexy, and you're like, you want to maybe fuck them, does it like improve your performance, or do you flop? And yeah, I'm just curious what it's like behind the scenes. All right. Love you.
Love you too. I try to remain professional for the most part, but it does distract me. I will say I do notice, like, if there's someone, like, a lot of venues, it depends on the lighting. Sometimes you can see the audience very clearly, and sometimes you can't see them at all. And when you can see someone who's like very hot, and there's like, I am like, so what's your deal? Like, there's a part of me that's like, what's your deal? And I know, like, I know nothing can happen. I'm on stage, they're in the audience. That's like a barrier that can't be broken.
I like that going through your head. You're like, okay, like we could hook up now. Wait, no, I'm on stage. Fuck.
But I'm like, there's something. But I have one story, George, about this, where one time I was doing like my very first like solo show at the Annoyance Theater in Brooklyn, New York. And it was like a mixture of characters and stand-up. And I did a character that right at the beginning, and where I talked to an audience member. I picked an audience member, and there was a hot person there who, I think I've told you the story.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say,
yes, you have.
Yeah, okay. And I called on him, and he immediately was like mad at me, like right at the start, mad at me. And I was like, damn, I shouldn't have called on the one person that I found hot. And it was like the first bit in the show, and it did kind of ruin it slightly.
I actually think that's very you, because you like giving yourself a challenge.
Yeah.
Like, because that's not going to go as well as picking like a random ugly person. It's so classic.
It is classic. I was trying to have my cake and eat it too, honestly.
Yeah. I feel like when I see a hot person in the audience, this is so humiliating. But rather than thinking, wow, I'm in a position of power because I'm the one with the mic and they must really like me, and that's why they paid to see me, I'm thinking the exact opposite, which is I'm thinking I'm the theater kid loser on stage, and this person is sitting there with their arms crossed being like, the hell does this like idiot have to say? Like, I'm going to go to football practice after. Like, I revert back to high school dynamics where I'm like, you're the hot person, and I'm like the loser that is trying a draft of my art project on stage.
Wow.
So I don't love when there are hot people that I can see from stage, and it does not in any way turn me on. What I do enjoy is a hot person potentially talking to me afterwards and complimenting the show, potentially sitting in the back so I don't see them as I'm performing, and then coming up to me afterwards. I'll enjoy that.
Yeah, that's nice.
And that's why we do it.
That's why we do it, folks.
So wait, I want to just quickly say one of the ones we disagreed on is, what is a piece of media we loved in our youth that we now hate? And I want to say, get ready, because this is a shocking thing to say. I tried rewatching Austin Powers recently and really could not get into it.
You are being
crazy.
Such a bitch. You knew that would hurt my feelings. And I saying that to hurt my feelings.
I almost want to try again because I think maybe I was in a bad mood. And then the other one, which I think I've talked about before, is the movie Rat Race. I have a memory of loving, and I watched it recently just stone-faced.
Mm.
Hey, my name's Jeff. And my name's Connor. Long-time gay guys. First-time callers. We're calling today because of a debate that is absolutely tearing our friend group apart. We want to know, is Lorde a gay pop diva? I think Lorde is 100% absolutely a gay pop diva.
But I think she's not there yet. Now, we agree that Charlie, Mariah, Aretha, for example, are gay pop divas.
And we also agree that Dua Lipa, Pink, and Alanis Morissette are not gay pop divas.
And we have all kinds of arguments either way, but we don't want to give them to you because we want to sway your decision. But if we keep talking about this, our friends are going to kill us. So we need to call in professional help from the girls.
So please respond. We need this debate settled. Thank you so much, divas. We'll talk soon.
Bye. Love you, divas.
Bye.
Love you, divas. This is so interesting. You know, it's I'm feeling a little bit like when someone tells you who they are, believe them. And I'm like, so you think Dua Lipa's not a gay pop diva? And I'm supposed to sort of listen to your rankings? I'm sorry. If she's not a gay pop diva, then what is she?
A pop singer.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, but this is like, this is like how everyone is overusing iconic and legend and blah, blah, blah. One of my pet peeves is like when people are like, happy birthday to this New York darling. It's like, what the hell are you talking about? That is Jason.
Yeah.
So I like Dua Lipa, but give her. She's still cooking.
I couldn't disagree more. I'm like Dua Lipa, like with Future Nostalgia alone. I think she like has made an impact that is so big and is so specifically like for like the gay community.
Listen, I love Dua Lipa. I need more vulnerability if I'm going to call her a gay pop diva. The whole point of being a gay pop diva is that you have this narrative of being the underdog and then persevering. You have gone through, and I understand.
Does Kylie Minogue give vulnerability?
Well, she's Australian. And she had cancer. How about you check yourself? Yes.
I'm not seeing vulnerable from her. I'm seeing perfection.
Listen, okay, hold on. So you're saying you don't trust the people that made this call because they don't think Dua Lipa is a gay pop diva.
That's what I'm saying.
But that actually doesn't really answer their question, which anyone can ask whether or not you agree with their opinions or not, which is Lorde a gay pop diva? I hate this, by the way. This is an example of a question you like and I don't like.
Oh my gosh. Why don't you like it?
No, because it doms us into being like chatty gay guys.
But that's what we are.
I know.
It's one part of us. We have a multifaceted personality.
Is Lorde a gay pop diva?
I don't know. I think, I kind of think, see, the thing is, I think you have to like consent to being a gay pop diva. Like, and I don't know if she's consenting to that. I think that's sort of what I'm talking about with like Dua Lipa, honestly, is like, she's like, I think she kind of considers herself a gay pop diva. Like, and Lorde is sort of being like, Lorde thinks she's the Strokes. She's not, but she thinks she is. And so that to me, like seeing her concert in Vegas famously was To Die For. Let's start there. But she really wants to be like, I'm just like you. Like, I'm like, yes, I'm up here. Yes, I write these songs, but I'm merely a reflection of you. And I'm like, I don't see myself as larger than life. I see myself as life. and so I'm like, I think no, because she doesn't think yes.
Yeah, I would say, I'm sorry to this group chat. I would say self-evidently no is the correct answer. I just don't think that is what she is striving to be or accomplishing being. And I also think part of the gay pop diva thing is obviously overcoming adversity and at some point being an underdog and being crucified by the media, whatever. But then another part of it is being kind of like difficult and having literally diva behavior. I mean, that is why Mariah Carey is a diva. That is why Madonna is a diva. Like that's the whole. And Beyonce, I'm not to say she's difficult in that she's like treats people poorly, but difficult in the sense that she's famously particular and is like always with the laptop and like calling the shots and like you gotta have some of that energy. And I think the pure joy of a Dua Lipa or the pure like emo-ness of a Lorde is not quite there. Like you gotta sort of combine it all and come out and become like Cher.
Sure. But that doesn't mean gay guys don't like Lorde. It just means...
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm even like, what gay pop diva? Maybe, you know what? I'm being so old-fashioned. I'm kind of being old gay guy that is at the gay bar and is like reminiscing about the 80s. Like to me, a gay pop diva is a very specific thing. I don't even think Charlie is a gay pop diva, and I'm not saying that as a knock to her. I love Charlie, but I think you need, it's a specific thing.
Well,
no?
I think to fully answer this question, we would have to define what is a gay pop diva, because I think that's where the disagreement is coming in, is that we have not defined the term.
Well, I would say that a gay pop diva is kind of dangerously close to the definition of a glamour girl, which is someone who is glamorous, wounded, and seeking truth.
But there's the added definition of like, and also is known for belting.
Totally. Oh, that's true. Yeah, like, does a gay pop diva need to be a vocalist? I would argue probably yes.
Whereas maybe a gay pop girly doesn't belt.
Wow, that's a really good point. And in fact, I actually do think that's why the phrase gay pop girly was sort of on the rise, is because there was a crop of these girlies that were not quite diva status yet.
And they don't want to be. Like they're not looking to be.
And also, you know, I gotta say, there's an age element to the diva thing too. Like I'm a little bit like graduating towards diva status means, you're about to age into Vegas residency.
Right.
It is too early, even if Lorde was going for a Mariah thing, which she obviously is not, it is too early to graduate her into diva.
Yeah. Diva is your master's.
That's right. And you know...
Or PhD.
Girly is your master's.
Girly is your master's.
And diva is your PhD.
See, we got somewhere.
If you're just pop singer, you have a bachelor's.
Yeah.
And I do think Dua, for the record, has a master's.
I'm glad we can agree.
Yes. You know, she might be doing her PhD. You know, when you do a PhD, part of it is getting a master's. Like anyone who gets a PhD also gets a master's. So I think Dua is on the PhD track potentially, but she's presented her master's thesis. And everyone's saying this is promising. Can't wait to see how you make it into, you know, your monograph. Anyway.
So since we're talking about the podcast, when we make the podcast, I have to say, see, that's why I like questions like that.
Oh, shut up.
Because what you're forgetting is that we will put the pop star diva question through our lens and we make it our own.
Whereas you think if I were to ask you, what is a piece of media you loved in your youth that you now hate, nothing would come out of that conversation. It would be very straightforward. And your answer would just be Titanic.
George, when I say my answer would be, well, nothing, because I respect the child that I was and the journey that I had.
Well, there you go.
That's not a fun answer.
Oh, stop.
That's avoiding the question.
Hey, gay guys. Calling from Miami. Yeah, you're jealous. No, I know nobody likes Miami. But my question, actually I have two questions. Protein. Protein's everywhere, and I think we haven't really heard from you guys about protein and if it's gay or what. I think it's straight in an obvious way, but you guys always come up with a new perspective, and that's what we listen. And then, never mind. That's going to be my only question. Bye. Love you guys. Keep doing great work, saving the world.
Aww. Something I love about gay guys, is myself included, is that they will be giving you a straightforward compliment, but the tone of voice is like, but I could change my mind at any second.
Yeah. It's comforting. It keeps me in line.
Is protein gay or straight?
This is so complex because protein is everywhere. Like, we all know this. This is not a hot take. It is just like when there's protein cold foam at Starbucks, like, you have to take a step back. I mean, for me, I'm literally being like, okay, then what is protein? Like, where are they getting all this stuff? What mine is this coming from? I guess I have no understanding of what protein is if you can just put it in anything. I find it like there's like a curve or something where it's like, I think 10 years ago, protein was very straight. And it was like the stereotype of like the guy with the jug of creatine powder. And that's like the only food he has in his kitchen. Yeah. And it's like the straightest guy in the world. And then like
muscle milk. Like muscle milk is such a classic kind of straight phrase, a straight word combination.
Yes. And even the branding of muscle milk, it was very masculine. And there was something like where it was like, this is for straight guys, this whole system. And now it's turning into like again, Starbucks cold foam with protein. And I'm like, it's becoming queer.
Well,
it's like for yoga girls.
Well, it's
now.
Becoming feminized. I mean, basically what happened with protein, just on a literal level, sorry to absolutely blow the alarm on this, is that the way capitalism works is that one market was cornered fully. All men were into protein. So then they were like, how do we expand this market? We feminize protein and make it also for women. And then suddenly you have Goop and Gwyneth Paltrow promoting cottage cheese pancakes and Starbucks cold foam that's advertised by some brain dead influencer. And, you know, you have like, I don't know, you can put protein powder in your, what's the smoothie place in LA? And your Irwan smoothie.
Yeah.
That's literally what it is.
Yeah.
That's what happened. And you all fell for it. And where gay people come in is that there are both men and women who are gay, which is interesting. And so they are implicated in this.
I will say I still, on the whole, think it is actually more straight male to have the big jug of protein powder in your kitchen. But gay guys do it.
Well, yes. The protein powder and the protein maxing is obviously very straight. But an attention to protein is also very like just mom. Like it's kind of like following, you know what's very straight? The food pyramid. Like that, like believing in and following the food pyramid and making 3 plates for your 3 boys and making sure they get their chicken and their broccoli and their rice. That is also very mom and straight. Yeah, I food is complicated, obviously, because it is such a third rail. It's like, I feel like, honestly, in a post-cancel culture world, food is still the one thing I don't quite know how to talk about.
Yeah.
Because people are obsessed with pathologizing everything, either accusing you of having an eating disorder, accusing you of, you know, in terms of meat, veganism, dietary restrictions, accusing you of being unethical in whatever way they believe in that one moment. If you are too ethical, then suddenly you're like a blue-haired leftist cuck.
Yeah.
So this is like, I do find that nutrition-wise, it is an interesting question. What is a straight versus gay outlook on nutrition? Like, what do you think?
Well, this is like such a, not to be completely insane, but I'm like, this is why we need our institutions back. Like, we literally need like a standard of eating that is like, so this is sort of what we like, the food pyramid has fallen and we need to rebuild it, because we need just like here's sort of what you should be shooting for. It's neither good nor bad. It's just average. Like, feel free to have some of this, have some of that. And instead it's like everyone is polarized in their eating in ways that are insane.
I know but again, it goes back to marketing and moving product. Like, the reason all of this is happening is just so that people are so confused that they are convinced into doing whatever, you know, Procter & Gamble wants them to do. There is no, and by the way, if the government were to step in to make a new food pyramid, do you know who that would be? RFK Jr.
I know. It's not fair. We need good government. I want government issued meals.
Oh my God. It's literally my number one dream.
I would love that.
Well, what's interesting about protein also is this is a known fact that people say, when they're sort of debunking the protein craze. In general, Americans on average do get enough protein. It's not one of the things we need more of on average. And so it's a strange thing to have so much emphasis on. To me, the reason why I became sort of obsessed with protein over the last couple of years, because I was like, ooh, I'm like experimenting with working out more, and it's like fun I want to gain muscle.
Yeah.
I never thought of it as something I'm doing for my general health. It was always a vanity thing.
I've heard that the next big craze is going to be fiber.
Yes. No, everyone has been saying that.
Yeah, it's the thing. Gay appropriation once again.
I know. No, I have straight women in my life who have borrowed, back when I would take Pure for Men, have borrowed my Pure for Men pills because they thought they were better than other fiber pills. I do think that's been debunked, unfortunately. I think it's the exact same as any other fiber.
Yeah, I'm just taking the Metamucil now. What do you
So we need to move on, but maybe there's no time for us to actually go into this, but I'm interested in the process of something normal and conventional becoming a trend. Because there are trends that are new, unique, updated things. Like a trend could be, tiny sunglasses.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that's new and has just been invented, but that is something that you didn't see as much of before, and now you're seeing more of. But protein is something that is so classic. It's like saying the American flag is trending. Like, it is something that is so classic that it really takes a big push to make it into a trend.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's what's straight about it. Like, to me, a gay trend has to be something niche that then enters the mainstream. But a straight trend, it's like the lack of imagination you have to think protein is an interesting thing to promote.
Yeah.
It's very like Thursday nights on NBC.
Well, in that case, I love it.
Period. How you doing? Okay, next call.
Hi, Sam. Did you ever finish The Shards? And George, what are you reading? Okay, love you. Bye.
I did finish The Shards last week, 2 weeks ago. I really enjoyed it. I felt like it was... I haven't read like a quote unquote page turner in a while. And that one I felt like a little kid again, kind of glued to the book. And I will say it didn't end as satisfyingly as I had hoped. And that's all I'll say about that. But I loved everything leading up to that.
Did it make you want to read more Bret Easton Ellis?
Yeah, I actually did kind of like his vibe. It's my first Bret Easton Ellis book, and
it's such a hard one to start with because it's like I feel like it's his longest.
It was long as hell, but it hit. It was juicy.
I am actually rereading a book, which I'm ashamed to say I do very rarely. I have this need for newness at all times, even though I really think that, much like the second sip of a wine is more complex than the first sip, I think the second time you read a book, often you get way more out of it than the first. But I am... What?
No, that's amazing. I think that's great.
I am rereading this book called Satin Island by Tom McCarthy. It's very like my interest circa 2015 when I first picked it up. It's about someone who is a corporate anthropologist. So his job is to like study human behavior for a company that then, sells products to them. And he's working on The Great Report, which is basically like a report on the behavior of like the entire world. But it's very sort of weird and avant-garde and sort of post-modern. And the reason I was inspired to reread it is because, as listeners of the podcast might know, I was reading for the first time this book of Zadie Smith essays that contained this famous essay she wrote that was called like 2 Directions for the Novel or something, or 2 Ways for the Novel. And one of them was like sort of a conventional realist novel with like a bunch of different characters and different themes. And then the other one was this super weird novel called Remainder by the same author, which I've also read and I liked less. And so that inspired me to reread this book. And while we're on the topic of books, I just want to very quickly say we got another call asking us to recommend books that are similar to the Secret History. And I guess I would say, what about Brideshead Revisited, which is kind of the OG Secret History?
Oh, I've never read that.
And also, if you want a book set in academia, I love the book Lucky Jim by Kingsley Amis. Next call.
Hi, Sam and George. Last time I called in, I mumbled a ton, so I'm not going to do that this time, honey. I have a question about Miss Charlie XCX. She, had a great brat era, but she's pivoting into acting. She's going to be in 20 movies and was on SNL. So I want to hear you two geniuses come up with what movie is going to win her the Oscar. What is the campaign? What is the role? How are we going to get her that little gold man? Should she be the sexy stepmom in a drama and she has 10 minutes of screen time, it steals the show? Should she fall into a magical world, Narnia style? Should she have Sandra Bullock's role in a reboot of Speed where that bus is zooming around? I would love to know your guys' thoughts. I love you both dearly. Love from Alaska. Work it out.
Wow.
Work it out.
Shout out to Alaska. I like this question because I feel like Charlie as an actress, the Oscars loves someone to play against type. People love to see a transformation. So I think she would have to play a dowdy mother who was dealing with intergenerational trauma, and it's and maybe it's even in the Victorian era, and essentially maybe her son is at war and she's thinking about him quietly for 2 hours. Maybe you never even see him.
So I'm sharing my screen with you, which I just remembered. So you did see me Googling Mariah Carey Precious.
Oh,
and
my browser was blocking it, so I missed it.
Got it. I wanted to address that in case you had seen it. I was trying to remember what the famous it ended up just Googling Mariah Carey PR, and it's now showing me who her publicity team is.
which I have been wondering.
Yeah, totally. Recently a clip of Precious was randomly going viral on my feed, and it's the clip where Precious goes to see Mariah Carey, who is playing a social worker. Now, of course, there's an argument to be made that movie is evil, and I definitely recognize that argument. However, we have to admit that every single woman in that film is giving the performance of her career. And it sucks that it's all in the service of this narrative, but it's just facts.
You're fully right. You're fully right.
I mean, Monique that is a generation defining. If the movie was more well written, that would be a generation defining performance.
Well, I'm literally what was going on over there? How are they all so good at acting over there?
No, it's crazy. I mean, even Mariah, who famously, her one movie flopped. She's not, you wouldn't think of her as someone who has acting range. She's doing a great job. Paulette Patton. Anyway, so I was trying to think should Charlie do something that is sort of Mariah Carey and Precious? You're going more period drama. I'm going more grim, present day set movie in London that's about kind of a working class community in London. And Charlie is... but this has not been filmed yet, and then it would take even longer to come out. So I'm just thinking about her age. She could play a mother. Mm-hmm. She could play a teacher. She could play, honestly, a reporter that is reporting a big story about, water pollution in the community or something like that.
I like that.
And then I think in a completely different direction, I think Charlie could be the new M in James Bond.
Well, yes.
Because
that's fun.
Because I think both of us are going very obvious with this question, which is okay, what's an Oscar-y role? But I think And then, of course, the less imaginative thing is being like, okay, well, she should play an actress or a pop star, like whatever she's doing in that movie that she's writing herself. But I think if she were to do a cunty role that isn't someone in the entertainment industry, that would be fun. Like a CEO, an editor-in-chief of a women's magazine, someone who is, a weapons manufacturer. That's why I think being M in James Bond could be a real breakthrough for her.
That could be a real breakthrough. Not Oscar-worthy, but it would be a breakthrough.
Yeah.
It would be fun for sure.
Because I think people think playing against type for her would mean dressed down, but actually playing against type with her would mean not messy, like super type A and buttoned up.
She plays Margaret Thatcher.
Yes, exactly. She should play Margaret Thatcher.
It's called Young Margaret.
It's called the Iron Lady 2. No more free handouts. Bibes. That's the full title.
Bibes. It would be like it would be about Margaret Thatcher, like when she's young, like being wronged by like people getting free stuff, and like yes. It's sort of her villain origin story.
Yeah, like there was maybe she had one experience where everyone else got free stuff and she didn't, or it's like everyone was handing out the free government tunics and all the rest of the people's fit, and hers was like too small or too big, and she was like, wow, I've always thought that a one-size-fits-all approach doesn't work. It turns out no one should have healthcare.
I think that could really work.
Hey guys, what are your thoughts on dating someone who's really hot, has good morals, votes, loves you unconditionally, but just is a little bit dumb? Like, you regularly get to explain world events and history, etc. to this person. They have plenty of other skills, but just like general knowledge is not one of them. Okay, thanks. Bye.
That feeling when general knowledge is not one of the skills.
Damn, for general knowledge to not be one of the skills is tough. I do want to kind of draw a line between intelligence and general knowledge. What you're describing is someone being uninformed, which in fact can be fixed and is not difficult. Like, I think it can take a couple of years, but you teach this person, this is the morning news digest you should read. These are a couple of books about world history. Maybe let's sit down together. This is sort of like a big oaf of a man. He can barely like swing his limbs around without knocking over a pitcher of pink lemonade. You sit him down, you say, we're going to watch the evening news.
Yeah.
So that to me is fixable. Intelligence is a tough one.
Well, I'm torn on, I wish we had an example of the intelligence, because right now I'm thinking, I'm more on your first statement where it sounds like he's the total package, except like, so he doesn't know like about the Revolutionary War. Like, and I'm sort of like if the other skills are like, he knows how to cook, or like he knows how to like, he has like a good sense of direction or something.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, that counts too. That counts towards intelligence. Like, being able to like win at Trivial Pursuit is not necessarily intelligence.
Yeah. You're also saying, he has good morals and he votes correctly without having general knowledge. That's emotional intelligence. To know
you can't buy that. You can't
buy that. Like, there are people that have so much general knowledge, too much, in fact, and they are voting for insane things out there in the world. But I have to say, I must admit that it would bother me if my significant other lacked general knowledge, to use your terminology. So I understand where you're coming from, and I think it's something that can be taught. I am a little bit more interested in the question of genuinely if someone is a little actually dumb, because that is challenging.
It's so specific, because it's like, how are you dumb? Like, there are metrics in which I am dumb, but I'm like I feel like if it's like, sort of like, if you were to tell me like, hey, could you like take care of this child? Could you take care of my child for the day? My child is 2. Could you take care of her for the day?
You could figure it out.
I'd figure it out, but I'd have a lot of questions and it wouldn't come naturally. And like even if it was like, okay, like there's a chicken in the fridge, and you like my mother is coming over. Can you please prepare it? Period. I'd be like,
okay, well,
fuck.
that is simply just cooking. That is, I would say that falls under general knowledge.
Well, and I think there's a world in which, yeah, I guess, how would you define a little dumb?
I think a little dumb is, to be honest, I define it as like someone who says something that is completely uninteresting and thinks it's groundbreaking. Like, I think of this, so this is honestly, I think about this so often when I go home to Greece. Like, you talk to Greek guys and they will have this, like, they'll just be like, the thing with men and women is like, you have to, like, women expect you to be romantic, but they don't know how they want you to be romantic. Like, they just think of this thing. It's like, so what you're saying is sort of like a cliche line a guy would say in a movie before the woman broke up with him. Like, or, I mean, here's an example. It's like when people have really lukewarm opinions about something like cancel culture and think it's interesting, or when people are really, inspired by the show The Newsroom. Like, just like things, just like your brain is simple, and so it is easy to hit the right buttons and make it go off.
No, I now that you're saying this, I know exactly what you mean, and that is tough. If it's like dumb as in like uninteresting and uninspiring, that is kind of, unfortunately, the like fantasy of like the dumb guy who's like so sweet and good is like not like, it's like if they're like really genuinely dumb like that, like it's over for me.
And it's also, I would get embarrassed like in social situations. Like, it's not a nice thing to admit, but like I would hate to be in the position of having to like explain myself for dating someone who is saying dumb things in mixed company.
Yeah,
I've been in those situations.
Yeah,
I've been in those situations, not with but I've had friends of mine date someone who like clearly is a dummy, and everyone sort of has to like pause when it's their turn to speak and be like, sure, little cutie.
That is tough. That is really tough. Is there anything that like, I was trying to think of like, this question was making me think about our partners, and I was kind of like, is there any dumbness that you overlook? Because I was thinking about like Misha is really unaware of like internet culture, like at all. And mostly that's like fine, but it will be funny to be like, have you heard about this? And he's like, no. And it's just sort of that thing where it's like, I'm just like, my role is like always explaining what is new on the internet.
The thing is, because I have also, I have that role in various, not necessarily with Matthew, but in with friendships I have. It's easy to take that as meaning that you are somehow smarter, but in many ways it means you are dumber.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Like it is, it's like, I mean, it depends, of course, what the other person is doing instead of being on the internet at that time. But it's like, I've had to explain stupid internet things to someone knowing that they are smarter than me and spend their time reading books rather than, being online. Okay, I have an answer to what is the dumb things Matthew and I overlook in one another. I hope he doesn't get mad at this. For him, it is a lack of spatial reasoning on a small scale. So, for example, trying to make a salad in a bowl that's self-evidently too small. Just being like, yeah, I can definitely dress this salad in like a bowl that's like for cereal.
That's so funny.
And then for me, it's actually spatial awareness on a larger scale, which I've talked about before, which is a lack of a sense of direction. Like, I really am like a little child when I'm walking around New York City, even though it's a grid. Like, I always have a difficult time orienting myself, knowing what direction I'm going to. And I do think each of us has learned that it's not something the other person's going to like learn.
Yeah.
And you just have to like be okay with it.
Yeah. I definitely have a horrible sense of direction. And I'm like inefficient in many ways in my life. Like, and I think Misha overlooks that. Like, where it's like, he like cares about efficiency. Like in the grocery store, he like has a plan. And I'm like, I'll get it done when I get it done. Like I have a different journey.
Yeah. God, I'm just thinking the topic of the dumb boyfriend is really there's a lot there. I also want to say it's interesting that the two kinds of bad boyfriends are almost too dumb and too smart.
Yeah.
If you sort of think about it, because the too smart one is almost the stereotype of like a man that is so intellectual he becomes a misogynist.
Yeah.
Like he's so focused on his brain that he doesn't see his girlfriend as a full person.
Yeah.
And then the dumb one is like so dumb that he doesn't get that he should like. It's like the dumb one doesn't buy a birthday gift because he's stupid. The smart one doesn't buy a birthday gift because he has some theory about like physical possessions. But both of them are ultimately not buying a birthday gift.
Yeah. That's like a really smart thing you just said.
Thanks, Sam.
Hey, Sam and George. I did call in earlier about Haim, but I am calling back with a different theory about pop girls, and I would love for two of the greatest minds of our generation to weigh in. So my friends and I were at the Chapel Roan show in LA, and it got me thinking that I think a big reason that why Chapel got so big so quickly is that she had really strong appeal to the big three demographics of pop girl fandom. So that is straight women, gay guys, and gay women. And I think my friends and I were actually struggling to think of another pop girl that really has all three of these demographics to the same extent that Chapel has. I think it's common for people to have two of the three, like Dua Lipa as an example. I think straight women and gay guys she has, but I don't think lesbians care about Dua Lipa. Lorde is one that we were torn on. I think Lorde actually has had all three over the course of her career, but I don't think she's had all three at the same time, but we were really split on that one. So yeah, just wanted to get your guys' thoughts. Do you agree? Can you think of other pop girls that have all three the way that Chapel does? We'd love for you guys to weigh in. All right. Love you guys. Bye.
I think this is very smart. I really like this call. I think the obvious one who has them all is Gaga.
True.
I think, you know who doesn't anymore? I think Casey Musgraves did with Golden Hour and then doesn't anymore.
I have an answer that you're not going to like, but it is objectively true.
Hit me with it.
Taylor Swift. That it's just like, we might not like it, but it is completely true that Taylor Swift has all three. And has them bad. Like, the lesbians literally think she's gay. Straight women think they are her. Like, they're literally like, she is writing these songs for me, and we had the same exact experience growing up. And then gay men are, of course, like completely insane and basically like jumping off of various windows at all times.
Yeah.
And I do actually think it is an under-discussed part of her story is that sort of, despite the fact that she seems like a very specific kind of blonde woman performer, she has this near universal appeal. And of course, the thing with her brand of appeal to straight women is they will even like, there's a sort of inoffensive kind of pop culture product that straight women can introduce to their boyfriends and husbands.
Yeah.
I think it's more challenging for them to introduce, I don't know, even something like Lorde to their husbands. Whereas I think Taylor Swift, it reminds me of how straight men love to joke about how they watch like Love Island with their girlfriends.
Uh-huh.
It's actually like kind of the barrier to entry is low enough that they're able to kind of like hop on and understand it and do it half earnestly, half literally mocking their girlfriends, and just sort of get on board. And so I think, honestly, that would be my answer.
That's a good one. Beyonce, I think, has all three.
Yeah, Beyonce has all three.
I'm trying to think of like who's close. Like, I think it's interesting. I'm thinking about like Ariana Grande, and I actually think like doing Wicked is the closest she's gotten to like getting all three.
That's true, actually, because then it's like the whole her and Cynthia Erivo connection, and everyone loves her. I mean, does Demi have all three?
Demi kind of might have all three, actually.
Demi might have all three. And I would even go so far as to say, okay, hear me out. Miley has all three, but it's like the niche it's like a minority of all three.
Yeah.
Like there's a passionate minority of lesbians, passionate minority of gay men, and passionate minority of straight women.
Yes. But it's not enough. We don't have
But it's not enough. And to be honest, I would even go so far as to say Pink has in her own way all three. It's just not the ones we would interact with. But I think lesbians love Pink.
Well, we actually got a comment somewhere that was like mad at us. That was like
that we erased lesbian fandom.
No, the opposite. They were like, lesbians don't love Pink. Don't say that. And I was like, whoa, okay.
That's interesting. I've known lesbians who love Pink, so maybe you get your facts straight, Chica.
Yeah.
Hey, Sam and George. So my friends and I were at the Haim show in LA a few days ago. We had one observation and one question. So the observation was that we were all really surprised that Alana was actually the main talker in between songs. She was like doing bits and telling stories and jokes, whereas we thought that would be Estee's role as like the stand-up comedian. So they kind of subverted our expectations on that one. And now the question. So we wanted to bring back the Heimlich game. We were thinking about other bands with 3 women and non-binary people. So of these 3 bands, Haim, Muna, and Boy Genius, which one is the Danielle, which one is Esty, and which one is Alana? This might break the game, but we have our ideas of who's who. We'd love to hear your take. All right. Love you guys. Bye.
Okay, first of all, this is the same caller of the Chapel Roan call.
Oh, no. Is it?
It's, because she said, like, I just called in about Haim, but I had another question.
Oh, whoopsies. Well,
I mean, shout out. I think Muna is Esty because Muna loves comedy.
And Muna has a podcast.
I think...
You know what, though?
What?
Haim's vertical video output is nearing Esty levels.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
Not really, but I'm listening.
Wait, you don't? I feel like all Haim does is do vertical videos that are like various dance challenges and memes, and like they're being so silly and they're always making funny faces together. And I almost think they're like out-sillying Muna.
Really?
Is this not like so much of your feed?
No, it's not.
That's so funny. I'm doing the very unhelpful thing of being like, don't you know? Don't you know this?
I mean, I'm looking at their Instagram now. Is that what you're talking about?
I just feel like it's always some dance challenge with Jimmy Fallon with them.
I'm like legit like not seeing that on their IG.
That is shocking to me. To me, I mean, listen, maybe they've regretted their choices and have deleted the videos. To me, when I envision Haim to me, the music aside, because I like the music of all 3 bands, Haim is doing a vertical video dance that ends in them doing a funny face. Muna they have a podcast and their guest is Caleb Heron, and Boy Genius is they're randomly dating one another.
Yeah.
Boy Genius is like the two. It's like Lucy and Julian are dating, and then Phoebe Bridgers is dating, Harris Dickinson or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we have to at least agree that Boy Genius is Danielle.
Yeah, I think so.
And so the question is, Alana or Muna is... Wait, sorry.
Alana or Esty.
Alana or Esty.
Well, I do think, in a sense, Muna is Alana because they're, like, younger coded.
That's true.
And more like... They're, like, carefree and... music, like soundtrack to like a cool movie.
Sure.
But then that would make Haim Esty. I'm telling you, Haim is going Esty mode.
Okay, so Haim is Esty. I'm okay with that. Okay. I see what you mean. Like they're silly. They're like Muna likes comedy, but like in a sort of prestige way. Like they
Muna
like
is part of the comedy community.
Yeah.
Muna is part of the comedy community.
Right.
Like they've been accepted into the comedy community.
Right. Whereas Haim is doing comedy like Esty would.
Yes, exactly. I'm sorry. Sam, go to Haim's Instagram and go on the Reels tab. You are gaslighting me, Boots.
Well, the Reels should show up on their main feed too, and they're not.
Go to the Reels tab and tell me what you're seeing. Is every single one of them not a dance challenge?
They're literally not. They're making videos, but I'm not seeing any. Okay, here's a dance challenge. After I've scrolled. Okay, the first one's a dance challenge. Okay. The fourth one's a dance challenge. I mean, they exist. I'm just saying it's not as prominent as what you were saying.
Okay, well, I'm looking at the rest of these. First of all, I love the question we got that was just, do we like penises? I would say for me, it's a yes.
It's a yes from me.
I like the question, we get this one a lot, which is, what do you do if you hate your job?
Yeah.
We have answered it a lot in the past, and I'm afraid that we don't have any new insights in that vein.
Yeah, but listen to Haim's new album, I Quit.
Listen to Haim's new album, I Quit. Someone called about the content versus context binary, which I want to, this is maybe not the time for it, but it's like one of my favorite things we've talked about is that we are going from an era of content to an era of context. Like, what's more valuable now is not more content, it's more context, because there's so much content out there that the person that's actually offering something new is the person who's able to recontextualize it. So that's fun.
But it does get complicated when contextualization becomes content.
That's the thing, because then if you're, for example, if you are doing let's say you're releasing a voter guide, or let's say you're releasing a breakdown of a recent news story, you have to ask yourself, are you actually providing context, or are you just creating content?
My least favorite context is people that are like, did you know that in 2003 this happened and it caused this? I'm like, okay, like, I'm sort of like, yeah, we can all pull like random things that have happened. Like, what is the broader arc that you're trying to, like, is this like a 6-week course on like 2003, or are you just like saying like, isn't it crazy that this boat crashed?
I know. Well, what you're talking about also is very like there's been a huge increase in celebrating anniversaries of pop culture events. It's always like, today marks the 17th anniversary of Demita Joe. I'm like, I love Demita Joe, but I actually don't need to know about the 17th anniversary.
I that is unfortunately one of my favorite things, where they're like 22nd anniversary of blank.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, slow news day, huh?
And I know that it's also like sort of like they're doing it because they want people to make fun of them.
Yeah.
Very quickly, people have been really asking your thoughts on Tyra Banks releasing hot ice cream, which is something you've always wished would happen.
Yeah. So I thought ice cream was far too cold. This is a known opinion of mine, and I stand by it. That being said, do I want it to be hot? Not necessarily. I've always said I want lukewarm ice cream that still has its texture.
So you don't want like a creme brulee or like a...
God, no. Okay. If anything, the closest thing that I want is a soft cookie. Like, a soft cookie to me is the closest thing we have to warm ice cream.
I see.
And so
you don't like a panna cotta or like a custardy dessert.
I mean,
cheesecake?
Okay.
Cheesecake, I would say, is pretty close to room temperature ice cream.
Yeah. There's, you're right. It's close, but it's not exactly on the nose. And I don't know what science she's cooking up. I have not watched the full video, even though people have sent it to me. I was just like, I don't want to support someone losing their mind.
Yeah. There's a whole genre of things people send to us that we just never address. And this is one of them. And I actually think I think there's a way to drive yourself crazy where you're like interacting with something like that and constantly being like, stop sending, please, we've seen it. And then it like makes you drive yourself crazy. Honestly, one thing like that, and I want to say this publicly because we've never addressed this, the meme.
Address it.
The meme where there are two doors, one says top a twink and the other one says stop and think. And there are a lot of people lined up behind the door that says top a twink. Okay, so this is sent to us once a day. It has been happening for pretty much 5 years.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, all love, we've seen it. You don't understand the frequency with which it is sent to us. This is something that is reposted by meme accounts daily. Like, it is something that has existed out there. Every day someone discovers it and sends it and says, oh, this is a straight shooter if I've ever heard one.
Yeah. They do that. And we appreciate the support, but we have seen it.
We have seen it, and we think it's hilarious.
As we're wrapping up, I'm like,
yes.
What's your mood like right now?
It's not good, but it has nothing to do with you or this recording. It has to do with like me being in a bad mood. How's your mood?
Same. I guess I was like, sometimes, if I'm being honest, when we do these and we both start in bad moods, we end in amazing moods.
Yeah.
And I was like kind of hoping for that like takeoff.
I know.
But we will push through, and I'm coming to New York next week. We're going to start, and then you're coming to LA. We're going to do a lot of amazing records.
I'm trying to pull up our StraightioLab email because there were some written ones. And of course, my internet is like not loading.
Oh, I can do that. This one is from Toronto. I can just read it out loud. We can decide.
Okay.
I'm taking trans vocal lessons, and in these classes, usually your first assignment is to find out who your voice inspiration is, a celebrity or a podcaster whose tone, rasp, intonation you'd like to work towards. You're men. Who's your vocal inspiration? Or if you were to transition, masc or femme, you pick, who would it be?
Ooh, that's a good one.
That is a good question.
What is yours? This is a fun one to end on.
Well, this is an interesting one, as especially considering our voices are our jobs for this podcast currently. And I think it's weird because I've never considered my voice to be particularly good. Like, I have like when I was a kid, I went to like speech therapy because I have like something in my nasal path is weird that makes my voice sound nasally. So I had to like go to speech therapy to like stop talking like this. And so I'm like, I even feel like what I do already is put on, but I don't know how. I think it's sort of like I also think you have a potentially interesting answer similar because I moved around to different regions of the US, I never like got one accent. Mm-hmm. Like there was a point when I was in the Midwest long enough where I got a Midwestern accent, but then I moved but I never picked up like a Southern accent. So I'm just like this sort of vague, but I don't know what my like voice fantasy would be. Do you have one?
I know the dream, of course, is like a neutral voice that only sounds slightly sophisticated because it's so easy to sound either quote too gay or too like pretentious. Mm-hmm. Like there is just anytime you're expressing an opinion in an audio mode, it's easy to become obnoxious or sound condescending or sound like you're way too sure of yourself. This is, I'm not to say is a humiliating thing, but I think that because both of us have listened to the Slate Culture Gap Fest semi-ironically for the last 10 years, I do think often I will emulate Stephen Metcalf's vocal patterns.
Oh, interesting.
Or at least attempt to. I would say that it would be really nice for me to have a vocal goal because what ends up happening with me is there are so many people I don't want to sound like that I'm constantly having to I'm constantly finding myself going a little too far in a direction I don't want to and then bringing it back such that I end up having an almost monotone, boring voice because I don't want to sound like too much like one or other person. And so this is definitely true in stand-up.
Yeah.
Like there are just certain other gay comedians that it is easy to emulate if you allow yourself. I think for straight people, so many of them fall into John Mulaney, so many of them fall into Louis C.K., so many of them fall into like Bill Burr, like it's such a thing. Or even like a lot of alt comedians will fall into Maria Bamford.
Yeah.
So it would be nice. It would be nice to have a vocal goal. Okay, I'll say this is okay. Here we go.
Let's hear it. I can't wait.
Wait, did you have something you wanted to say?
Well, I was going to say that ever since I've moved to LA, and of course I've been listening to How Long Gone constantly, I do find myself butching it up a little bit more.
Really?
Yeah, I hear myself like say more mask things that are like I have like a little cadence of like a slightly butcher.
Yeah, dude. Like
I'm trying to think of like, it's hard to think of an example, but I do find myself like almost like sort of like you're going to want to go ahead and do that. Like that type of thing.
Yeah.
Where it's not fully like I'm not pretending to be straight, but it is like a little bit of a straight guy cadence that I've picked up from listening to them.
Do you listen to Doom Scroll?
No.
So it's an interview show. The host name is Joshua Citarella. He like used to be an artist, or maybe still identifies as an artist. I don't know, but also does this podcast. He's had good people. Actually, Grimes was randomly just on it this week. But he has what I would describe as like a truly like neutral male voice. It's like not too mask and not too gay. And I almost think that's like best case scenario. And I think honestly, and I'm sorry if he's listening, it makes him sound a little less confident in what he's saying and even sometimes a little less smart because he isn't like doming the interviewee, which I think is nice. It's nice to have a sense of curiosity and not immediately know exactly what you want to say. And it's almost like the less harmful version of like Theo Von doing that, but being like a complete moron.
Yeah.
So I guess that would be one of my vocal role models.
I definitely also, when we started this podcast, I remember it being like that being more of a pressing issue of being like, how do we want to sound?
I know, but then you just sort of like fall into a pattern.
Yeah. Because it was like, I remember like always joking at the beginning and being like, we're being Mark Maron, we're being Pete Holmes, we're being...
I know. We were so self-aware, parentheses, derogatory sometimes.
Yeah.
Like there was just, I was so petrified of coming across as either stupid or unoriginal or whatever. And you just gotta have faith that like on average, you're occasionally saying some insightful things.
God.
I also just want to say, just because this caller is talking about transitioning, we get a lot of calls from callers who are transitioning, I will say it. And we had another one that was a trans guy that is wondering if he should, like, he's a gay trans guy and he's wondering if he needs to abandon indie rock because he needs to get into pop girlies because he's a gay guy. And I just want to say, no. You should. It's cool to like being a gay guy who likes indie rock. I think is honestly one of the most ethical things you can be at this moment in time.
I completely disagree.
Wow, really?
I think you have to like let go of indie rock for like 5 years and like be the dumb gay guy you've heard about in the stories. And then you have to find your way back home. Like once you've fully immersed yourself.
Yeah.
I think it like hits harder when you like let go of the wall and are sort of like, you'll never forget the indie rock and you can always revisit and it will come back around, but to make the full commitment to the like, and also just like, you'll find yourself being like, well, to have a conversation with these like random gay guys I just met, I do actually need to know like what Sabrina Carpenter's 5th album was about, like rather than the one before Short and Sweet. Like, and so you find yourself like becoming encyclopedic about that. And I think it's a helpful tool. And then one day you'll go back home.
Do you find yourself having constant conversations about pop stars outside of this podcast?
Literally, yes.
Okay, because I don't, and it's actually always like actually something I've really like appreciated and enjoyed about our time together is that like because I know it's something we're going to talk about, I'm becoming more informed. But I don't feel like with the other gay men in my life, that's like one of the main topics.
It's kind of like Drag Race, where it's like at this point I watch it in the same way that like I think many straight men watch sports, where it's like I just need to be able to have a conversation with like the gay guy I just met.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, oh, and by the way, another thing we keep getting calls about is our thoughts on marriage and open relationships, and I'm kind of like, no.
Yeah, and mostly I have to agree.
Yeah. And that's pretty much it. I enjoyed the question that asked us, if you got paid $7,000 every time you gave Zach Braff a concussion, how many concussions would you give him?
Enough concussions to have $3 million.
That's right. And rest in power, Zach Braff.
Not because I particularly hate him. It's just a cruel, cruel world we live in. And of all the ways to make $3 million, that's almost more ethical.
It is a little bit like you would harm fewer people.
Literally.
You would only, in fact, harm Zach Braff, who's had a pretty long and full life, full career. He got to date Florence Pugh.
That must have been fun.
That must have been great. Not a lot of people can say that.
No.
He was in a hit show. He got to literally become an indie darling filmmaker for a while.
He pretty much invented the shins.
He invented the shins and invented the idea of a manic pixie dream girl. There's enough. If Zach Braff died of 35 million concussions tomorrow, there would be so much in his obit.
People would be, and people, it honestly would be good for his career because he could be like that. People would come back around because people really don't like him right now in a way that as soon as he were to get 35 million concussions, he would be like, a fucking saint. Move over, Charlie Kirk.
No, completely. It would be the Charlie Kirkification of Zach Braff. And people would, Garden State is not a great movie, but it's good enough that people can like if he died, young people who didn't live through the manic pixie dream wars would reclaim it and be like, this is actually like really aesthetic.
Yeah.
That's what they would say. They would say that's really aesthetic.
That's really aesthetic. Yeah. Manic pixie dream wars is that's an amazing sentence.
I mean, it's true. That was the original girl boss. They keep inventing archetypes so they can tear women down.
George, I have to sincerely apologize.
About what?
Because I was really against the Zach Braff question, and that was my favorite one.
Well, and I don't want to create more drama, but that's why I was like confused. I was like, you're not attracted to the fun ones.
It's not that I was sort of like, here, sometimes
we also need to stop.
We literally need to stop. This is an interesting exploration. Sometimes when people, and shout out to the caller, nothing but love, nothing but respect. Yeah. But when a call is trying too hard to be funny, I get turned off.
Sure. No, I get it.
And
you're saying your happy medium is what movie would win Charlie an Oscar? Because it's funny enough, but it's not like I'm the Joker on stage with my notebook doing stand-up and Todd Phillips is the Joker.
Exactly.
That's fair.
But what I forget is when I don't love a question, I can almost answer it with more disdain and more abandon because it's less pressure.
And that's the other thing with like the non-pop culture ones is I don't want to be part of a discourse.
Honey, you better start believing in discourse. You're in one.
I don't want to. I don't want to. So I'm feeling like
this episode is amazing, of course.
I agree.
It's going to be not amazing for our editor. Shout out. Sorry.
Shout out.
And other than that, thanks for listening. Thanks for calling.
Yeah. And in conclusion, Sam, I was just wondering, what is a piece of media you loved in your youth that you now hate?
Oh my God. Nothing. The little boy that loved whatever was right. And while I'm not able to appreciate it now, it meant something then. And I guess I would have to say, I will say I was gaslit by some things as a child.
You know what's funny is I said that as a joke so we would end there, but I love that you're answering the question because my plan worked.
I never liked. liked Flubber.
You never liked?
I never liked Flubber. I was gaslit into having to tell people that I liked Flubber. I never liked Flubber.
You know, this morning I had breakfast with my dear friend Jenna. She goes, she was like, it's like, she was talking about something else and she goes, it's like how I hate Robin Williams. And I was like, excuse me?
That's crazy. What was her take? Did she say more?
I don't know, but I think it's like he's doing too much, and it like, which I get, and that's of course one's first reaction to Robin Williams, and then you have to like move past that in order to like understand his genius.
Yeah.
But I do think Flubber, because, you know, just on a script level, there's not much happening there. It is just him doing too much.
No, that movie, I went and saw it in the theaters, and it was that thing where you're a little kid and you're like, I know I should have liked that more, so I'm just going to say I liked this.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. When we were little kids, seeing Robin Williams, Jim Carrey, and Eddie Murphy overact could be scary.
Yeah.
That's scary.
That's a lot for a child's
That's
brain.
an adult man doing all that?
Yeah. That's not right.
That's not okay. Those actors are not safe for children. Those actors should be for adults.
Those actors should be for adults. And then the other one I want to say is, this is going to be really controversial, but I can't stop thinking it. I loved Spice World as a child. I think Spice World has some amazing alt comedy bits, and it's really impressive that the level of humor they were working with. But when you rewatch it, it is long as fuck.
No, it's bad. Yeah.
And they should make a compilation of all the amazing bits in it and cut out all that fucking filler.
Spice World would be an amazing movie to cut into vertical videos that are shareable online.
And
if anyone over there is thinking about
and
that.
According to our Joe Sunday interview, the youth needs it.
And I just want to say, feel free to stop commenting on that specific video. I think we've heard all the takes we need. And by the way, none of you are funny.
Woo!
Okay, love ya.
Love y'all. Happy November.
Bye.
StraightioLab is a production by Will Ferrell's Big Money Players Network and iHeart Podcasts.
Created and hosted by George Civeris and Sam Taggart.
Executive produced by Will Ferrell, Han Sani, and Olivia Aguilar.
Co-produced by Bei Wang.
Edited and engineered by Adam Avalos.
Artwork by Michael Fales and Matt Grubb.
Theme music by Ben Kling.